I have a friend who has quite the onboarding story. On her first day at her new job several years ago, she was greeted by surprised faces. Only one person knew she was starting that day, and he wasn't in yet. The company didn't have her computer ready and hadn't even decided where she'd sit. So staff tried to make her feel welcome, but it was awkward, so awkward. She didn't have her own computer until 3 days later. What an uncomfortable start. The first impression you leave on a new employee is key to them starting off on the right foot. You chose them for a reason. You want them to be excited about working for you and eager to deliver big results for your team as soon as possible. Hi, I'm Liz Keener, MRAA Certification Manager, and I want to spend a few minutes talking to you about onboarding and its tie to employee satisfaction, a key pillar of MRAA's Dealer Certification Program. The way you go about gaining trust from a new employee is to make them feel welcome, like they're part of the team, like they're already a key cog at your dealership from their first day on the job. I've been reading a ton about employee satisfaction lately, as it's employee satisfaction survey season for the dealers in our continuous certification program. More and more, I'm reading about how employees want a number of things. Number 1, to feel part of the team. Number 2, to be mentored, recognized, and communicated with. And number 3, to be given the resources to do their job right. I'm going to start with being part of the team. How do you make your new employees feel welcome from their first minute in the door, or even before that? Do you send them a first day or first week schedule a couple days in advance so they know what they're getting into before they get there? Do you serve breakfast their first morning and take them out to lunch on their first afternoon at the dealership? Do you introduce them to everyone in the store, even those they won't be working with from day to day? We have a controversial question in the certification ESS. Do you have a best friend at work? It's controversial because oftentimes it's a low-scoring question, but the thought behind it, backed by work from Gallup, is that having camaraderie at work is key to making something you have to do, work for a living, something that you at least sometimes like to do. It's important for making our team members feel welcome. If you haven't yet read Power of Moments by Chip Heath and Dan Heath, I recommend checking it out. There's a great story in Chapter 2, Thinking in Moments, about onboarding at John Deere. It talks about making that moment, that first day, so great that team members leave thinking they belong and the work they're doing matters. Second, employees like to be mentored, recognized, and communicated with. I just read this Business Insider article about Gen Z. Unfortunately, a lot of people complain about Gen Z. They're concerned about their lack of drive, their lack of motivation, and their need for flexibility in a rigid business world. But one of the biggest points I pulled out of the article was that Gen Z actually thrives in an in-person work environment. Entry-level employees want to be side by side with their colleagues, learning from those with more experience, and getting the level of mentorship that you can only get with face-to-face interactions. Again, the certification ESS shines some light on this topic as well. All too often, when we read the results of the open-ended question, what could your dealership improve? We see the answer, communication. Gen Z, and from my experience, millennials, aka Gen Y, want to know what's going on in the business so they can help. They, or I should say we, want to know what's going great, and they want to understand where the business has opportunities and how they can pitch in. They have fresh ideas. Share what's going on in the business, good and bad, and watch them innovate. Finally, resources. This is another big one we see on the ESS and in general. The question we ask employees to rank is, I have the materials and equipment to do my job right. My friend who didn't have a computer on her first few days, she'd mark a big ol' strongly disagree on that one. But sometimes it's something less obvious. Do they have the technology they need? Is your internet strong enough for your employees to be efficient? Do their computers work fast enough? Is their workspace laid out in an efficient manner? Or is the shop truck out for maintenance every 30 days? Recently, I downloaded a gem from our friend John Spence. He offered up a download, What to Ask Yourself Before You Fire an Employee. I'm not saying that any of us are firing anyone, but it's still a good resource with questions to ask yourself about employee development. A few questions that caught my eye include, does the person have the necessary skills or training to meet what the company expects of them? Does the person have all the resources they need? Does the person have enough support from other parts of the organization? Setting up an employee, especially a new employee, for success includes making sure they have the resources, skills, training, and onboarding to do their job right. Onboarding is such a key part of the puzzle. We've all heard of or experienced ourselves employees just walking out or ghosting us after just a day or just a week. You spend so much time and money recruiting. Why waste those efforts? What if we made them feel so welcome that first day, that first week, that first month, that they're running home, bragging about how great their job is? They're recruiting their friends for your open positions, and they're delivering results you could have only dreamed of before. Make that effort. Take that time. Onboarding is crucial to an employee's satisfaction with their work, and you can never get those first moments back.